I just couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't understand. And
Okay. There we
I always
go.
believed in God, but I didn't like understand what I do now. Now we've did quite a journey to what I am now, and everything. And I was able to understand, and everything. And maybe all this is for a reason, because all this is for a certain reason, because like the guy was trying to like help me understand that I was here for a bigger purpose and a reason. And that's why he was trying to, change these things in my life so that so that I could.
Boozman!
In
Where the
other
hell
words,
are you,
like
Boozman?
I could be one of the ones probably who,
Skinner said that he had a bottle of whiskey.
be probably one of the ones that can
Where
like.
would he go to drink a bottle of whiskey?
In other words, as a chosen,
One of
you
these
have an impact on things more than you think, even the world, and everything. And so like.
Now, where is he?
God was trying to like free up the ability for me to have, telling me to, he was leading and guiding me in a way to save this country or this world.
This'll help.
But, in the background, 2024. I didn't understand it, but I believe that the election played a big factor in that. I'm not sure. What I'm trying to say is that I believe it was more of a bigger thing than I realized at the time. I didn't get it. I think I do now get it. I still don't quite understand it, but I get it more than I used to. And everything, but it's interesting because, like, I went through many things before I was changed and found out what I was changed and came to what I did and what I believe, and in my opinion, what I found was my purpose or what I could do or what I was shown or in ways what maybe I could have been taught, and everything. The thing is, when I was going down this road, so many things happened in my life. So many things, and everything. One, my dad got sick. My dad got a lot more sicker, and everything. Right, everything. Two, I started going through a lot of physical issues and things in my life.
This is
and
gonna be
everything.
it. Boozer!
Sickness.
Are you in here?
I got to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed.
Nope. Not in here.
Because I feel like I was being majorly attacked with what I was doing. And everything. And I didn't understand. I didn't know anything about spirituality, spirits,
Jesus, man.
demons, stuff like that, and everything, spiritual perspective, or any of that. I didn't understand that. I didn't study it. I didn't pay attention to stuff I wasn't involved in. I didn't understand.
Empty. Wait a second.
I didn't quite get what made me so vulnerable to. Sorry, I'm not quite get what made me suffer, like what made me struggle with so many things in my life.
So where is he
struggle more than other people. And now I kind of get it, like everything, right?
through the doorway? All right.
And yeah, like outside physical, major physical issues. Quickly, wake up at 3 a.m. every night with a stomach ache.
Uh-oh.
Couldn't eat anything.
Got a new
Couldn't drink anything.
screamers. That's not good.
And anything is not good. ex-citizens for not screwing out with security for the next few days, from SC packs, that. Same thing with my little stuff like in my mind. Just hurting all the time. Scratches on my body.
Can't repair the bat.
Couldn't really function normally. Couldn't get out of bed. Like,
Four strap.
when I would
Okay.
get up, I would be in
Okay.
pain.
Never
I would
mind.
be hurting.
Okay.
And one time I was trying to like walk and I had back problems. Never had back problems. I never had back problems in my life. Like it's what you call a spirit of infirmity. Um, a, I was very weak
Gotta take that thing out or it's gonna alert more of them.
at the time. I was very weak.
Come here.
I was struggling with a lot of things in my life. I believe I was
Gotcha.
definitely under demonic attack and demonic perspective. Either through witchcraft or something. Something was attacking me. I would go to sleep and I would have stuff all around me. Spirits. I think I would have things talking to me. I would believe I would hear noises on the walls. I would have loud noises. I would hear loud noises in my sleep. Sometimes I would hear my name called. I would hear something around me make noise like the air conditioner. If something would happen with the air conditioner, I would hear cabinets shut, open and close when I was doing stuff.
No, not this way.
And I would hear a window open. I would hear my window open by itself, and a cool breeze would come in out of the blue when I was sleeping. When it wasn't even cold in there, it would get a lot colder. And there's a difference, and there's a difference between that and other stuff, but and I would go to the window and I would see that the window was open by itself. And I'm like, that's not normal. And I had this happen a couple times.
Okay, let's see. What's going on here? Back on
And
track. Beer bottle empty. Heading that way.
I
Damn it. Skizzo's right. He's heading
at
home.
times I feel like I was being touched.
He's on
And
foot.
so
Can't have gotten far. I'm gonna need my bike.
this all this kind of led to seeing a psychiatrist too. I went to go see a psychiatrist. This is prior to after the time my dad passed, I think. It was in July, and I had to go see a psychiatrist who was going through some hard stuff, and everything with this. I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. Maybe it was fuller. And I was also going through panic attacks, and I had to go. Anyway, I felt weird. I also had a fear of going, going, had a fear of going out to other places and doing stuff.
I'm gonna need my bike.
I just didn't want to leave because I felt afraid of something happening. Especially even back with even with the election last year. And so I was going through a weird time in my life, and
Boozer.
I was
Boozman.
everything.
How's it going, brother?
And
You said you were at
it's
the
hard
farm.
to go down the pathway to
Left. You are not at the farm, Boozer.
I was reading, studying stuff on spirituality, the occult, stuff like that. Did I get myself caught up in something I had no idea about? Are these people demonic? Are they doing witchcraft? Are they involved in stuff? Is it the channels I'm on, or the people I'm involved with, or is it my life? or
sunset. So
am I opening myself up to something I'm not aware of?
walked to
Or is
another
or am
floor.
I kind
You
of,
know,
or have I been put under, am I gave a little bit more perspective that's been on that Donald and my wife's regular man.
Ah, shit.
Something come over me, and everything.
Boozer, what are you doing?
That caused me to be like this, and I was looking at stuff. And it's continued for, well,
Reload. Gotta take a
2 years,
closer look.
2023 and 2024. By the end of 2024, I was afraid for my life that something was going to kill me and do something to me. And I would wake up every day and I would be scared. Because I would have scratches all over my body. I was afraid someone was trying to kill me. I was afraid something was attacking me. I got scared for my life. I'd never been that scared ever in my life, but this was not normal and it never ever happens. And this was rare, and I never had this happen in my life
Empty.
at all. And I knew that there was also weird stuff going on
So
with
you're
me
not
when
alone.
sleeping, and my body would ache and hurt, and things would happen to me that wasn't normal, and stuff that you don't typically feel like, and everything. Especially not for me, because I mainly treat my
Okay,
body
more
pretty
broken beer
healthy for the
bottles.
most part, and everything. Um, and this normally does not happen. I knew it was not normal. I knew feeling pain in your wrist was not normal, like aching in your wrist, and everything was not normal. Feeling pain, like pain in my
Okay.
arm.
Let's take a look around.
Uh,
Boozer,
there was
are
a
you in here?
where I
Booze
felt so
man.
bad and didn't feel well that I didn't want to get out of bed. And at that time when my dad was sick, and everything, and I
Upstairs.
wasn't feeling well, and everything, I would just lay in
Okay.
bed
Now where?
and not want to do anything,
Another
and
building.
everything. Or I would get up and I would get up and do something, I go right back to bed. I
Which
did not
way?
feel well. And everything. I wanted to just stay in
And
bed
another beer bottle.
because I was in
This way
pain
as
too. I
well.
wasn't feeling well,
I'm not
you
gonna
know.
ask.
And when I had back problems,
Boozer,
my back was
where are
hurting me,
you?
my wrist was
Booze.
hurting me. I was sick to my stomach every day. I couldn't eat. I would always be sick. I would,
Boozer, just where are you? Would you look around? Can you tell me what you see, what's nearby? Give me a landmark or
And
something.
I couldn't sleep.
already told
Either
you.
like I would wake up at 3 a.m.
Now look
every
at that
morning
shit.
with
Look at
terrible
what?
stomach pain
Boozer,
and I
what
couldn't
do you
sleep.
see?
The road,
Stuff that
the
made
road
me
is
feel awful.
wow. It's just, it's
I wake up at
gone.
3, 4 in the morning.
Like somebody
Every
came and
morning would wake me up in the
they
middle of
just
sleeping,
swept it away.
and I would
The
just
roads
feel
gone.
incredibly
Oh
crampy and
yeah,
stomach pain, and it was awful.
like somebody
And I
came
would just feel
and
terrible
just
after
swept it away.
everything.
Gone.
You know,
Walking.
and I couldn't get
The
any
road's like
sleep. I was
someone just
always
swept it
up
away
all
and
night,
gone.
and I couldn't sleep.
And now the road
So I
is just
just,
gone.
I
Where? Where are you
went right
going,
back to bed,
Boozer?
and I didn't wake up till the afternoon. I was just
That's where
exhausted.
I'm going.
Everything.
Just stay right there.
And
Stay where you are. Get down. Get out of sight. Listen for my
terrible.
pipe. I'm coming.
Where'd she go feel
I'm
like
not
that she was
hiding from no one.
awful.
I'm going home.
And it was weird because I could not quite
Damn
understand
it,
why all
Boozer.
these things were coming at me and why I was being attacked and why all these things all of a sudden came out of the blue. Like, what was all this, and everything. And it wasn't your typical regular sickness. I just felt like it was just different.
Broken road.
I felt like this was spiritual attacks. I feel like this was
Not
like
far.
depression. I feel like
Road
this was
closed
like
now.
something coming after me trying to take me out, about a year ago because of what's going on. Or maybe what I was involved with in my life or
What's
what
that?
my life was at the time. Or maybe it was trying to,
This is it. All
um,
right. What have we
it was
got?
trying to
Gotcha.
um, come after me because I was with where I was, and everything in the state I was. This thing this thing was sent to
That's gotta be him.
do something to me in my life,
What do we
and
got?
everything, right? Because it knew that I was going to be a threat
You're
or
mine
something was
now.
going to happen in the future if I was
Blueprints.
still here.
Bingo.
I truly believe that. And it tried to take me out,
Can't give him a ride without my bike.
because at the time I didn't understand what was going on, right? And I was confused, and it wanted to, I believe it was going to
Boozer, you there?
kill me or do something
I'm getting
to me.
close. I followed your tracks. Just
Anyway, I don't know.
Boozer, come on, man. Stay put, will
And I
ya?
do believe at times, like if you're one of the chosen, you're one of the elect, or you're made for a special purpose and lived by God, or God has you, in that situation for a
Little late for
reason.
a
That
stroll.
something wants to come in and try to
Boozer, where you going?
make your life,
Oh, we
mess
can't
up your
go
life,
back to
or cause
Old
it to be
Green
hard.
Mountain.
So it comes.
I'm going to farewell.
Shit, come on. We gotta get No, you want to take a swing at me? Fine. Get in line
And
behind
I think
that.
also you can do things in your life that can't open your
Oh crap! It's a horde.
I don't think it was even I did, but I think, that maybe it might have been the people I've been watching, they might have been on my influence, or they might have been involved in some bad things. I have no idea.
Going out? No, I don't think so.
I don't think it was me. I'm smart as
Bro?
I've never got anything argument in mind, or I've never been involved in any role or done anything to cause
What did I say to you?
I would
What did I say
believe
to you, huh? I found
anything
you
demonic or
after so
anything
you
to,
drink yourself
you
to
know,
What did I
evil
say
to
to you?
come into
Grabbed the bottle. You chugged it.
You
It's a
know,
lot
man.
of goddamn whiskey. And you told me if I was going to
Something
drink
to come
myself to
into my
death,
space
you'd be right there
and
with me.
try to,
That's what brothers do.
harass me, right? Harass me, punch and
Like I said, Boozer.
grab and do whatever.
As I said, that's how we're going.
Like I said, and everything, or even, even to a point that maybe
Let's get the hell out of here.
you know,
Go, go, go.
I'm going!
even to a point that says,
Oh shoot! It's gonna be bad.
I see
No!
him, Boozer!
No! 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 Shoot!
I just
We
know
gotta
that
get out of here
they get
quick.
up and people don't believe it. They look at me like I'm crazy. So
Oh shit!
you had a true spiritual impact. Yeah, like you did. I really
Oh, I
that
see him,
spiritual
Boozer!
effect was something you didn't know. Yeah, I truly believe I did. I truly believe the scratches were not, they could not be explained, or they were
That's
not
right. I'm going the wrong way. I'm gonna take a little bit of a shortcut.
I somehow ended up interacting with Supernatural. I don't know how. And I mean, like I said, I've been looking for this stuff. You know, I don't go looking for these stuff, or these things. These things find me. I
That's
feel
the
like
last
it's
of them.
because of there's something
We're gonna be
about
okay.
me, I think,
I know.
where
I knew it
I
all along.
have. I believe
Hey,
things
D.
are I believe
Boozer,
I struggle a
listen.
lot more
I
with things
just
than other
want to
people.
say
And
thank you,
so
man.
there
I
are
mean
things
it.
out there that
Boozer,
try to ruin my life.
Just listen, goddammit.
When
Came
I
out
think the
here
devil,
and you saved my
he's good, so
skin
he
ass
tries to use acts.
again.
I
I owe you,
was
brother.
very foolish
I owe
and
you.
unaware and didn't
No,
understand
no,
then. And I was
Boozer.
like,
I owe you. All right, look.
God
If
had
it
no
weren't for
idea.
you,
God
I would have been dead a long time ago.
where I am
Be
now.
okay.
Or maybe he was putting me through the stuff I did to let me understand. In other words, I feel like he was preparing me for a much bigger thing in the future, and everything. But it was like, okay, you know, they, but there was something that was saying to my life to take me out. I really do. I really do believe that. Not just that, but people were sending to my life at the time to take me
Yeah,
out,
Ricky, I
to
found
kill
him.
me. And everything, or do something. Like,
Well, let's
he
just
didn't
say that
like
tomorrow he's
me
gonna have
killing
one hell of
me.
a hangover.
He knew that maybe there was a bigger purpose in my life, or something that was going to happen in the future, or like maybe I
Yeah,
had something, but
Yeah, that'll last you.
I believe I had a real encounter with the supernatural, and everything. I don't know what it was. The only thing I can think of the only thing I think of that can scratch or has scratches is a demon. A demon, a
All
demonic
right.
form, and everything. They have claws,
All right.
and everything, right? They have claws because if you understand the context of of demons, it says that they're kind of similar to like,
How's it going?
Where?
they're like demonic forces, that like have like claws. I don't know. Or it's a possibility I could have been scratched in my sleep. I don't know. But see, the thing is, I have cats, right, and everything. But I was like, I never know my cat to attack me in my sleep. He's a very docile kitty. He doesn't do anything. He's very sweet, unless you, well, mess with him first. But yeah, and everything. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't attack me when I'm sleeping.
Thanks for stopping
And
by.
everything. He knows I'm not a threat. So that makes no sense. It's like, oh, okay, and everything. And like I said, okay,
I'm gonna do one more
you get
mission.
one scratch from a cat. Because a cat scratch is not as bad as scratches I have.
Hey, Ricky, I,
And
had a
everything.
favor to ask.
Okay,
Yeah, what's up,
and
dude?
the cat usually typically
It's
scratch
about
you at
Boozer's
one
arm.
single place.
I saw that hook
I have
you
scratches
made
all
for
over
him,
my
and
body.
it's great. But don't you think it might be better if instead of a hook, I don't know, maybe it was something like a knife or a blade or something, you know?
Okay.
Oh, hold on.
And it tends to be on your arms or your legs.
So if
I'm sorry about
Mainly
that.
your arm or your
So, you want me
especially
to
most of my
create
scratches I got
prosthetic
from my cats have been on
blade
my
for
mouth.
Boozer?
Or
yeah, I just thought I might cheer him up, make him feel, more of a...
and everything. Not all of them. It makes no sense. And then I could have gotten
that
scratched
way.
when I was sleeping. I could have scratched them with
I'm just fucking with you,
but
babe.
I don't think
I
that's
think
the
it's a
case.
great idea.
That's a weird
I will go check some
thing for
parts,
me.
and I will bring you what I
That
need.
they really changed my life forever. I didn't understand that. What that wasn't. Okay. And it really made me understand the supernatural more than I used to. And I never studied it. I never
Hey, man.
paid attention to it. I never really watched it. Yes, maybe at the time I was used to watch stuff on TikTok, like the supernatural and stuff. But I never really
The butler
got
twins,
into it
Abigail and Gabby. You
or
know them?
did anything involved in
I
like
seen him
and
around.
or anything
What's going on with
what I'm
him?
trying to
They
say is
went fishing
I
yesterday,
didn't go
and they
looking
didn't come back.
to
Well, the lake shore's
find
pretty
spiritual
safe. They stay out of the marsh.
like some
That's just
people
it.
do.
They weren't at
Getting
Lost
involved in
Lake. They
spiritual
went
nature, like
over
spiritual
to the Metolius River.
What were they
cursed
thinking?
stuff, like
Okay,
fortune tellers, tarot
I'll see
cards,
if I
and
can
all
find
those
it.
things,
Deacon,
Ouija
thank you
boards,
so much.
palm readers, all those people, and everything. I didn't go looking to try to connect with the spiritual realm, and everything, right, and stuff, or like try to communicate with dead things or things of that nature. Demons, or I didn't summon a demon or try to make a contract with it. I didn't summon a demon or try to make a deal with the devil, or I didn't summon any blood and all that stuff, right? That people assume some people have done, and
Look in the bio.
to
Just looking
get
around.
these things, right? And then these people believe these people are possessed by demons. Um, and stuff like this. I didn't go looking for things. I just did your typical everyday things that people do, like in the world do. I streamed, well, okay, not everybody streams, but I streamed, I played video games, went and did my everyday life stuff. I watched sports, I watched baseball. I did your typical everyday things that people do, in life.
This is Radio Free Oregon.
And then I had this weird encounter, and I don't know, I can only think of two possibilities why that happened. One, I was involved, I had got my life had come under some kind of thing that caused that to happen. Or two, the channel I was watching were demonic, and they were demons or they were evil, and they fall into really dark things like witchcraft or magic or something. They came into my life, and the people I was watching were doing some very demonic, evil things, and somehow that came into affect me. And I don't know how you could affect me. People say the things you watch and stuff consumed and dark things can come into your world and affect you. You can be influenced by demons, or you can be possessed
Before everything went to hell, the
if you
girls
don't
made
have
a lake
Christ,
fishing site, but they always
and everything right, and stuff like this,
Okay, I'll start
and
there.
watching
Speaking of.
paranormal and supernatural things can affect you, um, and stuff like this. But I don't understand how watching creators on YouTube could have caused that to come into my life, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
It had to
That's how I was
be
fishing. I got
the
kidnapped.
things I was watching, people I was into, and influenced by that did it. But everything about my
Let's do
life
that
started
song.
getting
Yep.
worse. I started having bad luck. I started being sick. I started having a lot of bad things happen to me. I started having
Got a good one for you.
failures. I started losing things. I started just
Ricky handed me a shot list. Said it was for
terrible
Bruiser.
bad things happening. I barely could function.
I just let him kill. I just let him take him out.
Um,
Anyway, she needs a galvanized metal
I'm
lost
not gonna even do anything. I'm just gonna let him distract him. I'll take out the other one.
carbon alloy
I'll
blade.
kill the other one and let that other one kill him.
Finally, some metal scrap
move
that list making
without
sense.
He knows.
taking pain.
Yeah, no, so I'll just watch him take him down.
Yeah, like you said, I don't want to ask that.
Well, that
Having
never.
bad problems, just your simple,
I need a blade or
I believe
tube.
now, from like that happened, that you're typical things of spiritual things in your life.
Construction.
And they say these things happen, and they say if you're under witchcraft, these things definitely happen. If you're under witchcraft attack, or these people are doing bad, or they're doing some kind of spell, you that's part of witchcraft. It is. It can make you have bad luck. It can make you sick. It can make you feel terrible. It can make your life get worse. It can cause a lot of problems for you. And my life got worse and worse and worse. You know, for those 2 years after my dad got sick, and I was like watching those people, and I started watching them around. It's like a Vega. Their channels, their names were Amiga and Absolutely. And I watched them for a long time. And they were incredibly dark and looking back on it, they're incredibly dark and demonic and evil and toxic, and everything. I didn't understand. Looking back on it, they were involved in some pretty dark things. So like, I'm not sure, but both of them kind of were into magic and this concept of wanting to be gods, and they were weird and they were strange, and they had this concept of how they both kind of were into the whole. They both were, into sorcery and I don't know what they were. Okay, they both had like a picture of magic or skeletons or very dark things. Okay, for their profile pics or their avatars on their channel. I don't know really what they were up to
At last.
and everything. But I live under witchcraft. And I got work, and everything. For 2 years, I was doing nothing but struggling for 2 years. And everything. And I was very sick, and I just going through a lot of stuff. It came to a point where I couldn't even get out of bed. And I was feeling terrible. So here, I had to have food brought to me in bed because I was feeling awful. I felt so bad, and my life got so terrible that I just pretty much stopped doing everything I used to do and would just stay in bed and went to sleep, and everything, right? And stuff, and do nothing but that. And I get up and I go. I would, and that's all I do, and everything. And sometimes I stay in bed for hours, even at night, just watching YouTube, just doing whatever. I had a lack of energy. I didn't want to do anything. I just felt nothing. Felt nothing.
The rest of these people, oh, there they are. They're in the room. They're inside of the building room.
It was
Okay.
weird. I feel like I had lost myself, and everything.
It's gonna be locked. Maybe.
It took me a long time to get that motivation and that stuff back.
Got it.
And 2023, I think, when I started doing it.
No, you don't. And if you even think you can draw on me, I'll be way quicker than you.
Watch them, and then I started making my life, and just it was weird, and and then it was like April, I think, around the time when I started feeling this way of 2023, and it was my birthday. I didn't want to do anything.
Now, where are they?
This is where my dad died. My grandparents showed up to our house, before my dad passed. And it was my birthday, and I didn't feel like doing anything but being in bed and being away from people.
Not
I
so
just
hard.
felt weird at that time. And
Oh,
I got
wow.
up, went
They
into the
hung
living
them.
room,
It's okay.
and
So they hung one of them.
sat there for like a short amount of time.
They
Left.
killed my sister. They
I got my
killed
birthday
Abigail.
card, and I got a bunch of other stuff for my birthday, but I didn't even feel like
I know,
opening
I
up
know. I'm
presents
sorry.
or
We
gifts
just
or
have to
anything
get
for
back
my
together.
birthday.
Come on, with me.
You know,
No. I can make it
21st,
myself.
2023 on my birthday,
I can't.
Okay,
and everything.
go.
And I was just like in a really bad state.
Mm.
And I didn't feel like doing nothing, but I was just incredibly weak and tired and sick. I didn't feel well. And, and I just wanted to go back to bed, and everything. I got all these birthday cards, I got all
Wow,
these
that's
things. And,
harsh, dude.
it
Yeah.
wasn't until like the prior night when I woke up that I finally felt like doing something, and everything. So, and like I said, I took all these gifts to the room, and then I didn't even bother opening them until later. But I just like I felt terrible, and everything. I just wanted to lay in bed and sleep. Or I just wanted to do whatever. I was just not happy as a person. I was in a bad place. And then my life got even worse, dude. Around 2023, or around I think May of that year, because prior to May, my dad had to go in the hospital, and everything, and just and everything. And then after that, it just started getting worse. I started not being able to hang out with my friend Trav. He was going through a lot of stuff in his life. He was struggling.
Oh, shit, they're recording.
We stopped being able to hang out with friends. My life started, things just started kind of going downhill. And I believe God might have been letting me go through that to bring me to something. Everything, like, I don't know. And the,
Ricky, I found her
and,
alive.
um,
Thank God.
I felt like
She wouldn't come with me, so you gotta send
and
someone who knows her.
struggling
Okay, she's on her way back to town.
and
Okay.
at one
Alright,
point,
okay. Ricky out.
I had to go back on medicine, I had to go get myself, had to go get my health looked at. It was bad. It was very, very bad.
Boozer,
I had become
I just got off work. I got this man.
so bad in my life and sick and in a bad condition
damn schizo.
that I was literally a vegetable. I was dormant in bed. I was nothing but dormant where I didn't want to do anything. And when I got in the bed, I was nothing but angry and rageful and mad.
Yeah.
And I just hated stuff. And,
No.
I got to the point where I just became,
You gotta let him keep stringing you along.
I guess you could say, I got
Not.
to some place
He's
where
looking
I
into it. It takes time.
Just don't get your hopes up, brother.
desperate to figure out what was going on. I didn't understand. I didn't know what was happening. And everything. I just was like, I kind of was like, I don't know what's going
Boozer,
on.
you up?
And,
This is deep. Must be
stuff
serious.
like that. The weird thing about it
Sorry,
is,
man. I didn't mean to wake you.
what happened was,
Working a shovel all day.
it's just everything in my life just got incredibly worse, including myself. And I was at the point where I
checking
was
on you.
like, great, and I wasn't in a good place.
Sure that
I was
you
in a bad state.
wander off on another midnight dance with the horde.
It went from being worse to being incredibly
Sounds
like,
like you're going out on a
very,
joyride.
to being
I gotta get some
very,
shut-eye.
and everything in my life
Out.
just changing. Just me, it was not good. In other words, like, how would I say this? It's like,
Hey, DK.
everything in your life
A little traumatized, but I guess
goes,
you know more than anyone
change,
else.
everything in your life
I
just
guess we
becomes
all
different. Changes in that moment.
Yeah,
Everything over.
I guess we do.
I
See you,
pretty
Ricky.
much got to a point where my life got so bad, and I didn't know what to do. I was desperate, including being sick, going through this.
Taking me a good time.
that
By the
something was
camp,
going
John's
wrong.
gone.
Rick,
And
yeah, okay, I'll be fine. St. John out.
the final straw, I guess it was like something off. So I'm not seeing.
Oh crap, that's a lot of. Whoa. Oh shit.
Me finally being alone. Finally being by myself, having done it. And coming to the end of
How many of them are there?
that I was going to be going down that path.
Hell frick. Crap. Now I can slide.
And it's going to affect my life.
Read this. Read this Molotov. This'll work. That Molotov floats.
I was going to, this was going to be, you know, and so,
You kidding me? I thought that was all of them.
but finally did it. Shit. I lost my dad in June, but I lost Brad to a divorce, and he's always been a really good friend of me. And then I lost my dad, and that did it. That was it. That was where I couldn't take it.
I almost died, dude.
I didn't know what to do. My life had completely gone downhill. And I was struggling. I couldn't take it anymore. It had gotten to me and it was just too much. And then I was sick and I wasn't doing good. You know, and I probably feel like the time after God got rid of all that bad stuff in my life and He made me a new person. He made me better. He also healed me and He took that stuff away. I wasn't sick anymore. And all that stuff went away. And I wasn't feeling that anymore. And stuff. And I actually, for the first time in a long time, could eat and drink without feeling any physical infirmity. I really do. You know what I say? I believe He healed all that stuff in my life. You know, everything. And I was very, I was like, let's say for the first time in my life in a long time, I was like very healthy after that. You know, I felt different, man. I felt free. I felt like great for the first time in my life. And I just felt like a different person. I had become changed. I was different. I just was happier and more confident and just I felt like I had finally like got to a point where I understood and I felt like my life changed. After two, I felt like a completely different person. I did, and everything, right? And stuff. And then like going to Gulf Shores in October, it's just like, we went to Gulf Shores in October, and I got so happy for the first time in my life. And I was also very social and chatty. I had become a different person, and like I believe God had changed me. I do, and everything, right? And yeah, God had all that stuff out of my life. He had made me different. He had saved me and put me on a better path where I became more positive and different.
You can say, John. You there?
Yeah,
I started to go down the road of understanding spirituality and stuff like this, but like
I just wanted to
things
say
like that, basically. I guess you could say.
she was the
Sure, Mike.
And when it happened was I became so desperate, I didn't know what to do. I lost my best friend, I lost my father, and then I was struggling, didn't know what to do. It made me come to the end of myself. I just didn't know how to handle it, and everything. And
That'll do it.
I called out to God and asked Him to save me.
Where am I gonna
Well,
find
I desperate, I need you. I don't know what to do.
Wait, where was
I can't handle this anymore. I don't want to go back to this stuff again to do this. I need you to help me. And I believe he did. He brought me out of that. He saved me. He put me on a better path, and I believe in it. I believe he had helped me from all the stuff that I was going through. He helped me from all the sickness and pain I was going through. Even stomach issues and all that stuff. Physical issues, and everything. And I felt like I could just, for the first time in my life, it felt normal. I felt like I could just, you know, I was physically well, and could just like, and eat and, drink and just, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything. All that stuff felt like it went away, like I got healed, and everything. And I was better. And, and, I could just
What am I looking for?
go about my life again, normal.
Hunting
And
blade
it was just,
for
I felt
Boozer's
different.
arm.
I felt
Okay.
like a different person. Everything all together, and everything. And, when I would get up, I wouldn't feel pain anymore.
Always need
Everything. And the scratches, and the scratches went away too, and those things were shut in my life. Those things that I got involved in were shut when I came to Christ, man. When I came to Christ, and I officially asked Him to help me, that I couldn't do it anymore on my own. Those scratches went away, everything went away, all that depression, all those things went in my life. I said I'm going to turn away from a lot of things I used to do and not do them anymore. I try to, I said, to change. And all the dark, and all the dark, and all the dark, and all the negative and the toxic stuff and all sorts of things like that, and all the stuff I did in the past, I turned away from. I didn't do it anymore. I didn't even watch those things anymore. I uninstalled from them. I turned off notifications. I made where I didn't get any of those videos. I basically ended up just going away from a lot of things I used to do, and I completely changed. I wasn't the same person. And it turned, in other words, I kind of guess you could say I turned away from a lot of things the world did, in a sense. But, I don't do the things I used to do anymore in my life compared to before. There are still some things I go through, yes, that I deal with, but I don't do nearly half the things I used to do, anymore. I'm a different person. I was a different person, and I believe I was healed. I really do, from all those elements and all those things that I was going through, even oppression and even oppression in that dark stuff and those things I felt, those feelings of the nature. Didn't have hatred or anger. I didn't have rage. I wasn't mad anymore. I felt like a completely different person.
Okay,
I
let's
completely
see.
felt changed,
What's going
and I
on
was more
here?
positive.
Still
My
got
life
that.
would be completely different. And I was not the same person.
Bleeding out. Someone's in a trash can bleeding out.
Concept for other people, and not myself anymore. And I wasn't
All right.
narcissistic or arrogant and selfish and prideful as much as I was. I noticed that. I noticed that I noticed that when I was
Okay, here's a
after that
blade.
happened, I became everything.
Gather
I was
scrap.
being put
Alright.
through
Need some
Find out
scrap.
a 10.
a test
Gather scrap.
and trial for things to come for a bigger purpose and stuff, maybe to help others do things for people. Maybe have a plan to, everything right and stuff. But I noticed that I was being tested by God after this happened. With the things I was going through.
There we go. And that's it.
Kind of show me, kind of do this thing where it's trying to test me, feel it hollow, not sit when you rip it, see how it's really changed, and everything like it was preparing me for something. So, everything right. So, like, well, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, I guess you could say, unless you really went through what I went through, I guess, to understand that even when you're in one of the darkest places of your life, you can be pulled out of that and be saved and help you, and everything. And and God can do a lot. God can do a lot for you, man. He can save you. He can throw you. He can throw you a you know he can throw you a lifeline for you know you're not yeah, about maybe like being a different person altogether. You know, and everything, right? And what I wanted. Um, the arrogance, the cockiness, the um, the arrogance, the cockiness, the concept all about me went away, you know, and all that, including that pridefulness. You know, and I became more humble and became a different person altogether. You know, I just felt like my life was completely changed and I was, you know, made a new person. I was
I wonder what
healed, you
happens
know,
if you
where I
shoot
was
this thing.
better.
Why
That
it's
really
why
made
it's
me see
all
things
red?
differently
You
in life.
see?
You know, that you can, you
Okay,
know,
yeah,
that
it
your life
explodes.
can
All
change
right.
and you can become better. You know, in other words, you can, God can save you. He can heal you from all that stuff and He can bring you out of it. And it took me a long time to get through that, but I did. But He can, you know, He can make you better, put you on a better path in life. And, you know, He can give you a new beginning and a new perspective, and He can He can make do better. He can make better. He can make things better for you in your life. He can, you know, make you a more happier, positive person. You know, you do change. You know, you change on the inside. You do. You know, you go from being more isolated and negative and toxic to being more positive and more open and a better individual. Sometimes God can take the darkest things and make them better. Also, sometimes God can take bad things and turn them into good. He can. He can take you can take bad things or the worst things you go through and turn them into good. He can use them for His benefit. I truly believe that God can take things that people. He can take the things of your life and make it better. He can take the worst things and use it for His benefit and for certain reasons. You know, and everything. Right?
Let's
I
see
don't always know why people go through what I don't always know why people go through what they go through. They do, man. But He did it to me, yeah, you know, and everything. And yeah, I truly believe God healed me because I was like the most healthy I've been in the last 3 years. You know, I have been, you know, going through sicknesses again, but you know, I've been asking Him to help me that. But I really believe that God can heal. You know, you if you are desperate, you know, I believe He can heal you and save you if you're like if you come to a point where it doesn't, you know, things get so bad and you know, but I do believe God. I do believe He healed me. You know, and I was like, dude, I've probably been the healthiest or I've been the best perspective I've been in the last 3 years. You know, for the last 2 years. I'm sorry, and I've been in a long time. So you know, um, you'd be surprised what can happen, and you'd be surprised what can happen. It really change you and open up very change you and open up your eyes to what's going on. That's not to mean that you don't still. That's not to mean that you struggle a lot. Yeah, you're going through stuff and you know the things you do. You know, you're God's chosen, you're God's elect, you're, you know, one of those people that were saved and were like, He's using for a purpose and benefited for a reason. So, with that, you go through a lot of trials and tests and struggles with other people, and you have it a lot harder. You struggle a lot more, you know, when
God
you
damn
tend
it.
to deal with difficulties. tend to go through a lot more difficulties and you tend to build things that work.
Yeah, nice bunch of rapists, these murderers. What you doing out here, huh? Looking for your next easy target?
Oh, there's a survivor back there. Okay.
Hold still, goddammit!
I got you, my dude. Yeah, don't pick on innocent people, man.
Hey. It's okay. Hey, it's not safe out here in the shit. I know where there's a camp that...
Where? I'll go!
Since survivors, hot springs.
Anyway, I don't know. But
I need the extra credits, so I send him on my.
Head to Lost Lake, ask for Ricky Patel. She'll take you in.
Thank you so much! I thought I was gonna die in there!
Tell him
And
it was
it didn't
me.
really change sense.
Keep your head down and run.
I look at things differently than I used to. Like, things that day. Six that day. With King 6 and all that. I mean, not just because of my dad, but because of a lot of things too. But I look at things differently. You know, I believe how much change that made about different. I also look at the world differently too, like, in a lot of ways. So it's like, but then, what really
Cross, you know, there was a
changed
time where that was a bad idea, and you know what? Still is.
January this year. I asked God to, like, put me out of that. I asked him to put me out of that place. I'm like, you guys gotta put me out of that place. I'm like, you know, to help me in that, but, I didn't truly, like, accept, you know, place, you know, like, until January. I didn't really, stay until this year, you know, until January, but, like, yeah, and I believe, like, that's changed my whole perspective of my life. The work,
Let him in.
you know, look, it's just different. Right?
So, a couple months ago, we were up by crazy.
Now I see things differently, like, January happened, it made me, like, see what the world was, you know, and everything, so. Like, my my eyes have kind of been opened up to understanding.
Hey,
Oh, I'm tired.
I got those parts that you asked for.
It's hard to explain.
Check back in a few, see what I can do, yeah?
Ricky.
You have to go through it to really
Thanks.
Yeah, Boozer's one of us now.
get where I'm coming from. Anyway, we're gonna go over the Middle East news because we all still talk about that.
Alright, I'm gonna get these uploaded.